Yes, I'm Fraser McLachlin. The company's called GCube Underwriting Ltd, and my position in the company is Chief Executive.
And tell me a bit of background about what GCube actually does.
Well, we were fortunate enough to get involved in first of all, the wind energy business nearly 20 years ago now, when it was a very, very small industry. And we saw wind and renewables back then from an insurance perspective as an opportunity. It was a very distressed business. There were a lot of claims. The technology, frankly, back then was very, very poor. And with a lot of claims, there is usually the ability from an insurance perspective to try and create products which are unique. So we became involved. We did a lot of work looking at certain technologies. We did a lot of work with some of the turbine manufacturers and created insurance products which were very niche, very bespoke, and designed specifically around the renewable energy industry. So we've gone from a very small two-person operation to a $100+ million business over that period of time, and it's been a very fun, challenging and interesting ride.
Okay, great. You've been instrumental in getting a project insured in Romania. What are the implications of that for the wind industry in Eastern Europe?
Well, Eastern Europe for us is a very, very interesting market. If you look at Western Europe, it is becoming relatively saturated, and I'm taking offshore out of that statement. But places like Spain, to a lesser extent Italy, planning in the UK is still very, very onerous and drastically needs to be reformed. And if you look to Eastern Europe, especially countries like Romania, Bulgaria, probably to a lesser extent to Latvia, the planning process, the consultation process that you need to go through is much easier. It's probably better in many ways, and therefore you can bring projects to the table much more quickly. The downside with dealing in some of those countries is I don't feel yet that some of the lending community, some of the debt community has got itself as comfortable as it might be with it. However, that's kind of where we come in, and we actually are able to support lenders, support financiers, and support the industry in general through insurance mechanisms to actually get these projects built. So we look at Eastern Europe as a growth opportunity, as a new opportunity, as a very exciting opportunity, because we think it is a part of the world where there is a great wind resource, it's got a great tariff, and we're probably about halfway down the road of it being the next real good place to be.
So how exactly do you see the future of the wind industry in Eastern Europe and the world at large?
In Eastern Europe, as I said, if we get to a position whereby we can get banks comfortable, and I sincerely believe that we will eventually over time get banks comfortable. It's got a fantastic wind resource, it's got a good land mass, the infrastructure is relatively robust, the grid in most instances is relatively robust. Therefore, it's got all the makings of being a very good place to have not only wind turbines, but solar projects, both PV and thermal, and some other types of renewable energy as well, such as biomass and perhaps even later on biofuels. So we view the Eastern European market as a market that we certainly want to be in, probably more so than some of the maturer markets around the world, such as India or China, frankly. They for us are harder places, although bigger places to do business in, actually harder places to do business in. So we're relatively focused in terms of where we want to be in the world. Western Europe is obviously one, North America, Australia, and now Eastern Europe. So for us it's a place we're going to be focusing on and concentrating on for the sort of medium to longer term future.
That's great. Thanks, Fraser.